An interesting bit after the race last weekend in Spain, Christian Horner came out and accused McLaren of asking Williams to help impede the Red Bulls in the closing laps of the race. Listen to what Zak Brown had to say.
He's just making stuff up as usual, and we saw it when they had their battles years ago with Mercedes. They can take shots all they want.
And with that, wow, Christian Horner accusing, the Williams team, McLaren, working together as a driver for Christian Horner feels like a bit of a exaggeration after what we saw last episode with the Williams driver, Frederick Vesti, getting in the way of not only myself, but my teammate of Drugovich in the closing laps after moving completely out of the way for both of the McLarens to allow them to get the win in the 1-2 in what was probably the most dramatic race, most dramatic 10 laps ever in the F1 23 driver career mode. It was absolutely incredible. We roll through here, however, following the disappointment, heartbreak of that ending now into Monza, where there's a bit of hope here, because last season when we came here we picked up the victory. Can we repeat, or at least if we can't win today, at least beat Aiden Jackson and hopefully get a few points of a gain on him? That's kind of the big goal today. Beat Aiden Jackson. I don't even care where we finish, and if we can get both Red Bulls ahead, even better. But I really feel like we're shaping up into, after last episode, I felt like that was kind of the start of what's going to be the rest of the season. McLaren versus Red Bull, and it's going to be a head-to-head battle as the season progresses here. Now, as you can see, we're free practice 1 times on Friday afternoon, leading us into what could be a dramatic qualifying session on Saturday. I say dramatic, I probably am going to qualify P10. It is so hard to beat the AI in qualifying, I find, when it comes to Monza. Usually I can get to Q3, but that's as much as I'm really going to get, and our whole race is really going to be determined by the rundown towards turn 1, where you have a really good opportunity to gain track position. Here in qualifying, it is supposed to rain briefly in Q2. So Q1, it wasn't a great drive, but we got through into P13. I was pretty happy with it, as you got Tsunoda, as well as Vesti, Lawson, Gasly, and Zhou all out in Q1. Immediately after going out in Q2, the rain is already falling, so it's about just getting into time as quick as possible. I was pretty happy with the lap I put down in Q2. It wasn't anything special, but it was just, good enough, basically, to bring us across the line, give us a nice comfortable gap to make it into Q3, where we would end up P6, P7 for Red Bull. Look at the British drivers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jamie Chadwick there down in P13, while her Connor Sport teammate of Jack Doohan in P10. Chadwick's qualifying pace hasn't quite been to the level that we have been used to seeing from, say, Callie Mayer, who's of course now at Ferrari, replacing the injured Verstappen. As you can see, my first lap here though, in Q3, look at this. Everything has dried up, so it was a pretty brief session of rain, but everybody was just making their first attempt now on soft tires. So my first lap was, no matter what, going to be top of the board, because at the beginning of the session it was raining, so it's take this with a grain of salt. We go to the top of the board, but as the lap goes on, everybody else is going to start crossing the line, and they are going to start knocking us down the order, or at least they should, and that's exactly what would happen. Everybody's crossing the line, and everybody is beating my lap time. I find about 0.2 to 0.3 of a gain, nearly 0.4 now on the exit of the final chicane, but even that, it's probably not going to be enough to do anything better than P10. We come through this sweeping right-hander to finish the lap, the run down towards the start-finish line, and sure enough, as we cross the stripe, it's only P10. A bit of a disappointment, as Jackson, Albon front row again with a lockout for McLaren. Well, how about Callie Mayer P3, Drugovich 4th, Hamilton in P5. It's all about the run towards turn 1 to keep our season alive at this point. Let's head to the grid here in Monza.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today, here at the oldest circuit on the calendar, which hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6 mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Aiden Jackson yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Alex Albon lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Mayer, Drugovich, Hamilton, Russell, Doohan, Norris, Leclerc, Golden Boy, Sato, Oscar Piastri, Chadwick, Yuri Vips, Ocon, Sonoda, Vesti, Liam Lawson, Gasly, and Zhou Guanyu. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
I am treating this as not a must-win race, but a must-beat Aiden Jackson race to keep our literal race, for the championship alive. Soft to mediums, let's get ready to roll.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Okay, Gary, you know how Jackson is willing to race at this point? Get the elbows out on him if you get to him today.
Yep, 10-4, Christian. Let's have a good one and work our way forward and hopefully win this race and maybe even a 1-2. Last episode, we really emphasized working together with Drugovich, and I think that's something, a practice that we're really going to have to utilize for the next handful of rounds to really give us a chance to take down McLaren and specifically Aiden Jackson. We're ready to kick off Monza, the Italian Grand Prix. It's lights out, we're racing, and thank goodness it's a bad start for several in front of us. We'll breeze past 2, now 3 cars, Jack Doohan down the order to 8th, Norris 9th, cars all over the place in front of us, 3 wide covering the whole racetrack there, Hamilton on the left, Russell in the middle, Drugovich on the right side, major contact between all 3. I believe they somehow all avoid getting damage, but not what we want to see. A big gap between 4th and 5th to the next cars of 3rd, 2nd through 1st. Callie Mayer was able to stick with the front 2 McLarens. We got to give it to Hamilton right away here, wheel to wheel with the champion, of course, of 8-9 times at this point in this F1 career mode. We'll pass Hamilton, and now we move through already into the top 5. An absolutely crucial start as we now settle in behind our teammate of Drugovich. Now it's not over yet. We know the AI, there's 2 laps where they just have an infinite amount of battery. It's lap 1 and it's the final lap, so it's going to be very hard to hold on. Hamilton pulls out of the slipstream, not able to quite get up my inside as I'm going to take an immediate warning for exceeding track limits. Got way too aggressive right there, but it keeps us ahead on this short shoot, we'll call it, towards that final turn. But I use all of my battery deploy so early, and Hamilton is now going to get a run on us towards turn number 1 to kick off the second lap. But now again, using a bunch of battery just to try and stay at least even into turn 1. Wheel to wheel will give Hamilton the space he needs, and there we go. We'll stay ahead, but we lose some ground doing that, and Drugovich is 1.5 seconds ahead already. Callie Mayer runs P3, but it wasn't long. Starting lap 3 already seeing as DRS gets enabled, battles for the lead. Albon, although, really right now not in the championship hunt, he's not going to make it easy on Aiden Jackson. These two have gone at it a bit this season, but you're going to see a lot of back and forth here, especially up front today. It's just going to be a common occurrence of the swapping of the lead. Now, as you can see as well, here comes Lewis Hamilton, who's going to breeze past me to start lap 4. Drugovich has already run down Callie Mayer and passed her, but they had a bit of a side-by-side battle for a couple of corners, and that actually allows myself and Hamilton to now get within the DRS 1 second margin that we're looking for. So that's exactly what we needed. We can really now start to hopefully make a gain and at least get with our teammate of Drugovich, who's now under attack again, starting lap 6 from Callie Mayer. Hamilton defends right, will swing one up the left side here into turn 1, and look at that. Job well done. Up into 5th we go, and now let's see if we can get to Callie Mayer, who continues to try and put some pressure now on Drugovich. Into the chicane, Drugovich stays defensive, and it works. He stays ahead, and now I'm going to try and put some pressure and force Callie Mayer into a defensive position to actually allow my teammate of Drugovich to try and get away a little bit so he's under less pressure. Mayer with a bit of a slip and slide on the exit of the right-hander, opens the door wide open for myself to swing up the inside. Here we go, wheel to wheel with the Ferrari driver, who's trying to, of course, prove that she belongs in a top-tier ride, and she is doing that here today, running top 5, qualifying 3rd, but that gets us through at least into the 4th position behind our teammate of Drugovich. Now it's all about the team game. Let's work together. Now we decided we're going to start doing a back and forth kind of swap. I'm going to pass Drugovich right here. He's going to maintain with me, and on the front straightaway, he is going to pass me back. Battling side by side is going to absolutely ruin our races, but if we can kind of keep using each other as a DRS pulley, this is exactly what we need. He's going to drive past me, and we're just hoping that the two McLarens continue to fight. And the Ferraris were both fighting each other as well, Mayer and Hamilton, so they were dropping back. We're pulling away from them, we're already 2 seconds ahead. And the McLarens are fighting as well. There's only one team in this top 6 that's working together, and it's Red Bull Ford. Again, we'll breeze past Drugovich down this DRS straight, and he's going to breeze back past me down the front straightaway. And all while that's happening, the two McLarens are fighting wheel to wheel in towards turn 1 just about every lap. This lap they weren't. They were actually pretty civil towards one another, with Albon now down into second, Jackson back to the lead. Front straightaway here, lap number 10. Now here we'll go, breezing past Drugovich, as the gap right now 2.9 seconds, but they're side by side in front of us. Jackson leads, Albon second, but anytime they're side by side like that, it nearly takes a full second out of them in turn 1, and they continue side by side into the second chicane, and that gives us another half second to 8, 9, even a full second actually of gain. So this would put us in the DRS by the end of the lap. So at this point, we no longer have to kind of do this swap back and forth with Drugovich, because now we both got the DRS to the McLarens. It's game on. The teamwork has worked to perfection, and here we are within the battle again of this McLaren team. It's going to be a face-off round 2. We saw how it worked out in Spain. Our pit window now open. Albon putting the pressure on Jackson into turn 1 again. He does not care that Jackson's looking for that first world title. Albon doing everything he can to keep his championship hopes alive. We heard Christian Horner say, get the elbows out. We saw how Jackson's willing to race. We really saw it in Australia. We saw it in Spain. He chopped our nose late in that Grand Prix to stay ahead, and now he's going to continue wheel to wheel, but hold on. A bit of contact on the side ponds there. He washed over into us, but we get through into second place.
Get in there, mate. I like to see it. Make it hard on him.
Mark loves what he sees, and we're not even focused in on Alex Albon. It's just about beating Aiden Jackson, who's down to third, as now we are heading into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Albon will stay out, and so will Drugovich. Jackson's going to follow us in as we head into the pit lane now, and we're going to be putting on those medium compound tires here. So very straightforward. Last episode, we really made some gains in the pit lane compared to Aiden Jackson. Obviously, it didn't matter at the end of the day, but once again, a really good executed pit stop, and this is going to put a nice gap between myself as well as Aiden Jackson here as we'll exit. I think we're going to be about a second ahead of him here, which is really good to see, but the question is, how much time is he going to make up, because I think he's going to have an opportunity to re-overtake us here. Now spin on the exit of turn 2. That's Lando Norris and the Mercedes. Jackson nearly into him. This could bring out a safety car if he goes stationary long enough. He's out of the way to where it wouldn't be a red flag, but there it is. Safety car deployed, and oh, that's unfortunate, because now Albon and Drugovich were able to complete their pit stops and stay ahead. So we will be relegated down to 3rd and 4th for myself and Aiden Jackson here now. So Albon is on a fresh set of hards. He's on the same strategy as Spain, and we saw it didn't quite work for him there, but could it work today? I like where we're at here. Red Bull, 2nd and 3rd. We've split the two McLarens, we've put Jackson at the back, and now we can hopefully work together again for the second time today to put the attack to Alex Albon here and maybe get the lead of this Grand Prix and try to work together to drive away and fight at the end of this race. Albon goes, Drugovich going, and now we'll get rolling as well. The goal here is I'm not going to fight Drugovich into turn 1. I'm going to leave him to it, give him an opportunity, see if we can use each other to move ourselves to the front of this train. Breaking into turn 1, a nice smooth entry here for both of us, all 4 of us really. It's the McLaren Red Bull showdown. Who's going to come out on top of, the second edition of this battle between these two teams? It really has turned into a whole subplot that I had not expected to have happened here within Spain, and now today again with these two teams going at it, which we just seem like now we've kind of met in this middle ground where we have the exact kind of pace, you know, as each other, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out here. Drugovich Albon opening up the gap early though on this opening lap of racing, and now here comes Aiden Jackson again. He's going to go to the left side. I'm going to go defensive up the inside. Battle for the lead. Drugovich putting the pressure on both teams side by side into the final corner. Jackson tries to go around the outside. He oversteps it a little bit there. He saves it now as we continue on. I put a bit of pressure on him, but I never ran into him. Drugovich still going for the lead of this Grand Prix. I'm doing everything I can to stay ahead of Jackson, or at least make life hard on him. He pulls out of the slipstream. Hamilton trying to fill the gap now. Jackson to go up the inside into turn number 1, and we're going to keep the door shut on him. We'll still give him the room that he needs, and actually he gets a better exit, a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there between myself and him, and on the run towards the chicane, Drugovich clear for the lead, and now I back out of it there. I did not trust Jackson going into that corner after how I really shut the door on him earlier in the same chicane, so I let him through into P3. But the big thing is, as long as we can stay within his DRS, it's still very much game on. We're coming to 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Things are going to get real. Let's go through the grid as the battle for the lead heats up.
Side by side for the lead on the run towards the first turn. Drugovich isn't messing around today as he continues to fight with Alex Albon.
This is great stuff, Crofty. Drugovich will get the run off of turn 2 to maintain the lead position. Red Bull know they have to beat McLaren today after everything that happened last week. We're in for a final Red Bull and McLaren war here to finish off the season.
Lewis Hamilton fires one down the inside of George Russell. He'll pass his former teammate for the 5th position. Callie Mayer just behind as she has put together an impressive weekend again. I think she is the top candidate to get one of these Ferrari seats for next year. Lewis Hamilton fires one down the inside of George Russell. He'll pass his former teammate for the 5th position. Callie Mayer just behind as she has put together an impressive weekend again. I think she is the top candidate to get one of these Ferrari seats for next year.
Honestly, Crofty, I would be shocked if she wasn't in that car next season with what I have been hearing.
Lando Norris only runs 18th place after his spin now, as you can see, coming to the end of lap 18. Drugovich, Albon, Jackson, myself, 4 cars running away from everybody else. We're all under a blanket. We're just a little bit further back, but Albon back to the lead. Drugovich remains P2. Jackson's going to go for one up the inside, but can't quite get there as Drugovich gets alongside Albon through the second corner. Here we go right to the back of the McLaren, and here we go again with another run back to the left side of Aiden Jackson, your championship leader. I said it early. A must-beat Aiden Jackson kind of day to keep ourselves in the championship fight. I couldn't quite get alongside him there. The end of the lap now. Jackson had run down Drugovich. Not what we want to see is McLaren getting control of this race in a 1-2 like they did in Spain. We let them get control and they ran away with it. Drugovich getting the elbows out on Jackson. That leaves him vulnerable to myself now, but now Drugovich is not going to have DRS. Yes, he is. He opens that rear wing, but we'll breeze past both Jackson and Drugovich. We're going to form a bit of a wall here where Aiden Jackson can't do anything, and then I breathe a little bit. I let Drugovich stay ahead. So now P2, P3 again. We've split the McLarens. Now let's try to focus in on, again, getting to the lead. Pierre Gasly with a mechanical failure out on lap 20 of this Grand Prix. That brings us down to 19 cars remaining in this race. End of the lap, and Drugovich again has run down Alex Albon. He's actually put a bit of a gap between himself and I. And again, we're going to come under attack from Aiden Jackson, who's trying to just get alongside us here, but he just can't quite get it. Look at how similar the paces are. So we stay ahead as Drugovich tries to run away from Albon, who's done a great job today in this last half of the race since the safety car, holding on these hard compound tires. I mean, look at him. He's still able to bring the fight to Drugovich as they go down towards turn 1. He'll clear Drugovich again. So back to the lead goes Albon, but those two still going at it just a little bit was allowing us to get back closer into this battle. And look at the gap to Aiden Jackson, nearly a full second, but he's still close enough to get DRS. Wheel to wheel in front of us again. Jackson, I think there was contact there, but he keeps it just about as clean as you can as they continue side by side. And by the end of the straightaway, thank you very much, I'm in the party now. Albon tries to go defensive. aggressive here. He knows what's at stake for McLaren, and he's going to make it hard, but will swing back around the left side, wheel to wheel with the two-time defending champion, but will pass Albon. But hold on, that McLaren's found some pace. He's going to fight back. Drugovich loves what he sees in the mirror. I realized it's just not going to work for me, so I back in line behind Albon, and we're going to set him up for another opportunity here in the next few moments, and it's going to be right here because Albon slips out the rear end on the exit of the corner leading to a DRS straight. That's a nightmare for a driver, and you see why. We breeze past him into second, and more crucially, we're within DRS range of our teammate Drugovich, and now it's a Red Bull 1-2. We have taken control of this McLaren Red Bull battle today. Round 1 went to McLaren, round 2 is going in the way of Red Bull, and myself and Drugovich start to open up the gap, and even more better for us, coming to 3 to go, Jackson has run down Albon and is starting to force a battle on him. So now, I mean, not only are we in 1-2, but we have officially taken control of this race. I think we can win this race. Albon, of course, is not going to be able to get to us, and I believe genuinely right here, Drugovich, he wants that second win, but I think I wanted a little bit more on getting win 5 of the season, as we really need to force this gap on Aiden Jackson. Here we go with 2 laps to go. Where do we go? Left side of Drugovich on the rundown towards turn 1. Now, over 3 seconds to the McLarens, but Drugovich will let him stay ahead for now. I'm really trying to time this out to a point where I'm confident I can hang on. Yellow flags. Behind is Callie Mayer with a mechanical failure after a really well done job here today in Italy. That's very unfortunate there. Mayer out of the Grand Prix with 2 laps to go, but we remain with Drugovich right here. These 2 right-handers have been the death of me all race long. I lose so much time through here every single lap, and that's going to be problematic if we're leading on this final lap. But it was all about just being smart. When do we make the attack for the lead? It's right now. Jackson into 3rd, but Albon only a few tenths behind him. Going with the DRS will breeze past Drugovich on the final lap. We haven't led all day long. Albon moves back through into 3rd on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Even more crucial if we can have a race victory and keep Jackson off the podium after his 3 consecutive wins would be fantastic. Now, the double right-handers. This is where Drugovich will close in on us. We get through there very slowly through the second one. Just can't quite get the car to hook up, and now he's within 0.6 of a second. DRS open on Drugovich's car as we're going to try and break that slipstream. He's going to follow us. He'll swing back to the right side of the track through the chicane here with the final chicane as we are going to try and get through here, hustle the car, but it's not enough to stay ahead as comfortably as I would like. Drugovich to the back. It's shades of last season. Will we be in for another photo finish? Drag racing into the final turn. We lunge it in deep. We do a slide job NASCAR style move, and Drugovich can't pounce on it. He tried to switch back, but it's not enough. We're going to come through to win in Monza. Let's go, guys. I can't believe it. Finally, we knew we could do this. We took them down. Let's go, boys. Absolutely fantastic.
Let's go, Gary. It's not over yet.
Great drive, Gary. We can still win this thing. Great work, and enjoy the celebration 2 years in a row.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think the key here was just the quality of the racecraft, you know? I mean, how many overtakes did they make overall? I'm sure we have a stat person keeping score somewhere. And it was fantastic.
What a race here in Monza. Round 2 of this Red Bull McLaren showdown, and we are going to split it both ways. McLaren took round 1, we take round 2. You know, it was all about getting control, and teamwork really did make the dream work, you could say. Maybe the cringiest line on earth, but I'm going to use it today because it was proven that it can work. Albon, even better for us, got the podium over Aiden Jackson. Everything you'd love to see. I mean, it couldn't have gone much better there. And now we've got momentum going into my favorite circuit, Singapore. So if we can go to Singapore and win that race, even better. But we're going to close in on Aiden Jackson. There's still going to be, of course, a sizable gap. He's still put together a solid day. 4th place, definitely not what he would have liked. But Aiden Jackson, I mean, coming off of 3 consecutive race victories, we really needed that to happen. And it kind of it allows a crack to start forming in the wall there. So Aiden Jackson still, even with our 5th win of the season, Aiden Jackson still has more. 6 wins on the season for him. How about Jamie Chadwick in the points points. We could have had 2 female drivers in the points if Callie Mayer didn't have that failure there. 45 points behind going into Singapore. Dragovic back by nearly 60, but it's really turning into a 3-horse race as now the constructors battle tightens to 10 points. I'll see you guys in the next one, Singapore, where we continue this fight with McLaren. It's getting real at this point, and I'm excited for the next one. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day.